Coach, you've had some time to reflect on the first loss of the season. What did you see from that Stanford tape?
Well, very discouraging loss for our players, for our coaches, and obviously for our fans too. We're not happy with that performance. Game that we felt we should have won, but unfortunately we didn't. And we've got to improve. We've got to improve in a number of areas. Just like we point out after wins and losses, we're always going to point out where we need to improve. In some of those areas, we did improve from week 1 to week 2 to week 3.
One of those areas that needs improvement, I'm guessing, is the offensive line. Is that a case of personnel and opening up some competitions, or do the guys that are in place need to gel and communicate more?
Well, we obviously did not play very well up front, especially in the second half, and it was a very, very discouraging performance. I think everybody feels that here, including the players, and it's our job to make sure that doesn't happen again. Not having Khalid doesn't help. I think anytime you got what I believe to be an All-American center, and that's a very difficult game for anybody, let alone a freshman, basically playing in his first real time. So very tough situation for Cyrus to go into versus a great front seven that's very multiple. So obviously when we get Khalid back, that'll help because he's the key to those guys. He's a senior and he gets them all lined up. And also there's a lot to be said for veteran leadership. When games get tough and they're not going well, much like what they did on defense. They rallied, that senior front seven rallied and played really well.
Are there spots in practice this week that you plan on looking at along that offensive line?
Yeah, we've talked about that, with Andre's performance. We're going to give Max Turk a shot there, but also that's a great opportunity for Andre to improve and to seize his spot and keep it.
Behind that, what did you see out of Matt Barkley? Obviously, the 2 interceptions in the second quarter and some of his decision-making throughout. Yeah,
those 2 plays are very, very unusual for Matt. And I think if you go back to the week before and after that game, I reminded everybody, let's make sure that we realize what we're seeing right now and that we appreciate it. Matt had 10 touchdowns through 2 games and, was playing great, high completion percentage, everything going great. That's very unusual. And every quarterback, no matter who they are, NFL, college, is going to have some games, where they don't play that well. And those 2 decisions were very unlike Matt. But those things happen. If you're not protecting and a guy's getting hit a lot, and I didn't change up enough for him to give him some easy completions because of stuff that they were taking away, that's going to happen to anybody.
How much could you see the physical beating, if at all, taking a toll on him in the second half in particular?
Well, I think a lot. That was like a heavyweight championship fight, and unfortunately he was getting hit a lot in that. And that's going to get to anybody, and it's going to change the way that you throw off your front foot and your balance, no matter who you are.
To what do you attribute the lack of explosive plays offensively in that game?
Well, I do have to give a lot of credit to Stanford, and I think they're going to give a lot of people similar problems. Where we have exposed them before over the last 2 years has been in the secondary, in the passing game, and that's when we've protected up front and had enough time to get it down there. And then if you don't have enough time to get the ball downfield, that's a very difficult team.
There were a lot of positives defensively. What were the individual standout performances that you saw looking back at the tape?
Well, I thought all 3 linebackers played well in the game. Dion, with some more big-time plays. T.J. McDonald, really causes the first interception. We were playing him at defensive end because of our defensive end depth, and playing him there on 3rd down, and he almost gets the sack, but he makes the quarterback force the bad throw to Dion. And he sets up another sack that we end up having to take a penalty on them, so we don't get credit for the sack. But TJ did well also. Yeah,
did you like, obviously, as you mentioned, you moved him up a little bit. Did you like what you saw about him playing closer to the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, gives us more speed there, in a position that we know is not very deep, and with some injuries we're struggling there. So it was good, and just one of those situations, where we've just over the last 2 years had to find ways to make up for the depth issues in certain spots by moving people, and TJ's the latest.
Rarely, if ever, do you talk about long-term goals. You're usually talking about the next game and the next practice and the next day. Do you address it this week, though, knowing the preseason expectations and some of the guys might feel down about being handled an early season loss?
Yeah, we do, just to make sure of that, to make sure that, they understand the world's not over. It's one game. And what we got to do is we got to learn from that, and we've got to improve. And there's millions of stories of people losing early and having great seasons, and I expect us to do that.
What do you want to see out of your captains this week?
Well, I know they're going to be fine. We're already through with that game. This is the only reason it comes back up is when you ask me questions about it. But we're done with that game. We're going to improve in different areas, but we're not sitting around talking about it still, or what if we'd have done that, what if we've done that, and our captains understand that, and they've done well already with our players.
Cal went toe-to-toe with Ohio State on the road. What did you see from them? Looks like another tough game coming up this week.
Yeah, very explosive offensively. Now they got three good running backs making plays. Obviously, Keenan's a great receiver, and the quarterback probably played his best game ever last Saturday. And they can cause you some problems with multiple defensive fronts. So this is a good team, and it's just a constant reminder. We talk about all the time, don't start comparing scores if somebody played somebody and barely won, and every Saturday is completely different.
Yeah, they do seem to have some breakaway speed in the backfield. Is it tackling that you focus on and trying to contain those guys?
Yeah, like always. We're going to need to play sound defense, get lined up. We've been fortunate to play well the last 2 seasons against these guys schematically, and so I look for us to do that again.
What do you see out of Keenan Allen?
Yeah, I mean, he's hard to deal with. He's big, he's physical, he's fast, returns punts too. So he's one of the best in the country.
What do you see from Cal defensively? They pose similar problems to Stanford, or is it a different look?
They do. They don't have the experience up front in their front seven that Stanford did. They're regrouping a little bit after losing 2 really good players in Guyton and the middle linebacker last year or so. But they do cause you some of the similar issues schematically. They do a lot of multiple stuff.
The team's being written off by a lot of people nationally. Is this an opportunity to sort of regain that edge that they had last year?
Yeah, I mean, whether we were talked about wherever we were before or where we are now, that doesn't have anything to do with how we prepare. And I think we're going to have a great week of practice, respond really well Saturday.
All right, well, looking forward to seeing you out in the practice field. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks, Jordan.